Hi, THR family. I'm JJ Finley,
I'm TA.
I'm MC.
and this is the Homeschooling Roundtable. So, in our last video, we had a rant, and you can go watch that one. It's kind of a longer one for our videos.
Very fun and interesting rant. You should watch
yes,
it.
yes, yes, you should. You should watch it. So, in this one, we're going to talk about can you do homeschooling online? So I'm just going to put this out there. I haven't done full homeschooling online. I've done a class for my homeschooling when I was homeschooling online, but I didn't do the full thing. I did mostly books. We use Sunlight, and that's a good place to go for books if you just want books to read. They're really fun. There's a lot of historical books that are really accurate, and they do a good job presenting both sides. So
Yep.
what are your thoughts on that?
Okay. Well, I did online school for, let's see, I started in the 3rd grade and I ended in about half the year of the 6th grade. So I did a program called Econ. It was a very nice program. It was the largest online school of the state that we're in. And it was very great. I really liked it. It was basically it's almost like a school in general. It is a school, but basically you're doing everything online. You're in a classroom setting, believe it or not, in school and online. So like you had Blackboard Collaborate was the program that we used. And you like could raise your hand. There's little buttons on there. It was so interactive. It was great. There's other programs that do something like that now. It did get shut down, but there's K through 12, which I'm not a fan of. I know some people like it. They actually give you materials for the year. So they'll ship materials. They'll give you a laptop for the year as well, which obviously you have to return it, but they'll give you that. It is nice thing. It kind of depends on what you as a parent want to do. Now, I do teaching textbooks, which is, I don't know what the age grade on these. I know they have anywhere between like, I think kindergarten, 1st grade to like calculus or pre-calculus or something like that.
Yep.
So they have anything over there. That is not a classroom setting. That is videos, and then they'll basically quiz you. They'll have a lesson and just everything you can do it, and then they'll explain it if you got it wrong or if you want to know what you did right or wrong or whatever. They'll explain it to you. But it's not necessarily interaction live. It kind of is. They try to get that, but it's not. But it's whatever you want to do. It's kind of I know also as well, this would count as an online school. If you're doing as a high schooler or maybe just about to get into high school, CCP, they'll have online classes that sometimes are very much interactive classrooms. But I know the one that I previously did was it was kids, not kids, excuse me, like, obviously adults, but it was people, but it wasn't necessarily I go into a classroom like a online, like ECOT. It was not like ECOT. You had assignments that you had to fulfill, and then you had to drop it into the Dropbox, and then type up maybe what is it called, discussion posts on those. Yeah, those right there. That's another online thing you can do, but it depends on what you as a parent want to do and what the kid wants to do, and
MC.
Like for us, we used to do public school, and then we started homeschooling around like 3rd, 4th grade or something like that, and then ever since then we just kept on homeschooling.
Yeah, I know some people where they do Abeka, and Abeka you can do it online.
Yeah, we used to do that too.
Yeah, and I've heard really great reports about it because it's just by a day-by-day basis. So you can get ahead as far ahead as you want, or you can slack off and wait until the end of the year to get it done.
Yeah, but the thing is that they do have different beliefs too.
Yeah.
They are a Baptist church.
Yeah, Abeka is Baptist based, which is okay if that's what you believe. But sometimes if you're gonna be like this is so stereotypical, and I know it, I'm gonna get probably some hate on this, but if you're like the stereotypical charismatic Christian that you believe like, all these things, and then you go into like a Baptist based thing. I'm not necessarily docking Baptists, because if that's what you believe, I'm not, just whatever. But
Yeah.
they do believe in a little bit different things than I would say the modern charismatic Christian would.
And we did talk about that in a couple videos ago about that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's so you can homeschool online. It's just if someone learns very well using books and they're more of a hands-on, online is going to be horrible for them.
Right.
Really
Yeah.
horrible. And so I say books because books, the power never goes out for your book. If there's water or something, you don't have to worry about it frying your electronic.
Right.
And also it's better on the eyes as far as screen time. I noticed that when I started doing more stuff online and doing more things with my computer and stuff, it really did affect my eyesight. And I know I started wearing glasses when I was 8. So it was one of those things where it was like, well, I started playing games and stuff more often. And I noticed after that my eyesight got worse. So I don't know. There might be a correlation. I don't know. It might just be me. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where it's like, how much time are your kids spending on screens? How much time are they going to be? And if you're like, I don't want them to be on any screens at all, hey, more power to you, because right now the online world for kids is somewhat messed up in some ways. Like seriously, somewhat messed up. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, it'd probably be better for a lot of us if we got off of social media. Especially, don't give your kids social media. I'm just gonna put that out there because it gives you a false image of what your body's supposed to look like, and a false image of what a relationship is supposed to look like.
Or also, sorry, good.
Oh, I'll let you finish and then.
Okay, I was gonna say also, if you do give them social media, put limits on it, but in the first time you do it, because I want to say this right now. I've had social media, I think, ever since I was 10, and that is because I was away from a lot of my friends and family, and I was, in a different part of the country. So my parents wanted me to have some sort of relationship with them. So if you are having it in that regards, that's a little bit different.
Yes.
But if you're gonna be like, I want to give it to them because, just because they keep begging me for it every 2 seconds, like that's a little bit different. And it does, and you are right, it does give them a lot of a false sense of just your body type and who you are in general, because your worth should not be in like what the world tells you should be. Your worth should be in what God tells you you are. And if once you believe that, that's a little bit different than normal kid these days.
Yeah, and the other thing is going back to the whole going with the relationship with family and stuff. There are some family members where I've not seen them for years. And so the only way, like I found out the other day, one of my childhood friends just got engaged just recently. She and I are the same age. I didn't know that until I was on Facebook and I saw the announcement her mom made, but nobody said anything in person. And the thing I've noticed is that people will post stuff online that they won't say in person, and people are more willing to be more abrasive and mean online than they would be in person. And so it's just one of those things where it's like giving your kids social media can be also open a door for them to see things that you wouldn't want them to see, because stuff will come and find them, like pornography. I'm just gonna put that out there. It comes and finds people now. You don't have to go looking for it. It comes and finds you. And it's so there are times where it's so subtle that we don't realize it because we've been so numb to it. Because
and now society thinks it's normal.
That's the Jezebel spirit that you do not want in your life.
Yes. So yes. You can do.
And it talks about that spirit, I believe, in Revelation somewhere.
Yes. Yes, you can do homeschooling online, but just be cognizant of what your kids are doing online as well. So give them some rules.
Oh yeah, and really quick on the topic of, I know you said something about video games. On the topic of that, there's so many video games out there that people don't know what their kids are playing.
Yes.
And you really, before you give your kid either a gaming console or any video game, please do your research, because I know that as from experience, I'm going to say I'm going to get so much for this. Okay. I was not allowed as a kid. I'm still not allowed to play Minecraft, to play Fortnite. I was not allowed to play Pokemon, nothing. None of that I was not allowed to play, because if you do your research on that, there's so much backing behind that that is a little bit different. And that's against the beliefs that, I have and my parents have. So do your research on that. Don't just put something in front of them, all the time. You never, ever, ever want to. Okay, for example, I remember I was at a restaurant one time, and there was this woman who, she had a little kid, and she had lemonade with her, and it had, I think, alcohol in it. And the kid was like, "Oh, I want some lemonade." And she was like, "Oh no, you can't have this." Okay, well, she knew what was in it. So she knew to tell the kid, "You can't have this." In the same way, if you have a video game and you know what's in it, a lot of times you're going to be like, "Okay, you can't have this because I know what's in it." But if you did not know that this lemonade had alcohol in it, you would have given it to the kid, because it's normal. It's just lemonade, right? No, there's something in it. So in the same sense, do your research on video games, and a lot of, especially social media and TikTok. Don't even get me started.
Don't give your kids TikTok, because I know from personal experience, it's so easy to get pulled into just scrolling through social media, where it starts out as, "Hey, I'm just going to talk to my friends who are on there because that's the only way I can," to, "Oh, well, let's look at this, or let's watch these videos, or let's play these games."
There's
And
other things you can do other than TikTok to have them have that relationship with just friends in general. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, I know from experience with Minecraft that if you play survival mode, there's a lot of fear that comes with it. Like, people don't understand how much of a door that opens to fear, because you have all these. I'm just going to describe the game for those of you who don't know what it is. It's a world building game that's, the concept is good in and of itself, but some of the characters they put in it, like Herobrine, Entity 303, Alex, let's see, creepers, zombies, Endermen, Gas, the Ender Dragon. These characters, there's a lot of fear, especially when it surrounds Herobrine and Entity 303 and Alex. Those three especially, there's a lot of fear surrounding those three characters especially. And it's so easy to find those characters that it's really strange that we let people play the survival mode and not, especially kids, play it and not realize that there's these spirits of fear that are coming into their life, and you don't even know it. It's happening right under your very nose. So I'm just gonna put this out there. If you want your kids to play Minecraft, let them play creative. And turn off certain features. I know Net Nanny is a really good parameters setting for kids, because it'll show you what your kids are doing, and they can't hide it either. They can't hide anything when it comes to Net Nanny once you've installed it. So for the kids out there, your parents are probably going to hear this and you're going to go, "Please don't let my parents see this, because I don't want them to see what I'm doing." I'm just going to tell you from experience, it's so much better to have your parents see something and you have a conversation about it than to try and hide it and then try to deal with the consequences later. Because once you're trying to deal with the consequences, now you're trying to get out of that fear, that shame, anything that came with anything that you were trying to hide. Now you have to deal with it. But if you deal with it right up front and bring it out into the light, it's so much better. And so I'm just going to say this. Do your research, parents, on games. Kids, be honest with your parents about what you're doing online. Be honest, because it's better to be honest and have trust with them than it is to not, and then break trust, and now you have to rebuild it. So
if your child is like under maybe like 15 or something, do not give them any social media, because that just like gives them more, like, they won't know who they are in Christ, and that'll just like give them more anxiety and depression, like, "Oh, I feel so awful." But if they're at the age where they're mature enough to have social media, then let them, I at least just let them have social media. I mean, if they're mature enough, then let them.
And that's a call you need to make as a parent.
And every kid matures at a different level. Some kids at age 12, they're ready to run the whole house.
Yeah.
And they're already adult. They have an adult maturity that most people don't. Other people,
Yeah.
they might be 50 years old and they still have the maturity level of a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where, as a parent, there are certain things you can do to help your kids mature more, but there are just some things where it takes time for them to mature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
You can't force those
yeah.
things to happen. You really
Yeah.
can't. I mean, it'll happen with time. That's just in general with anything. And also, really quickly, I do want to say this before we close. That even if the parent, you're saying yourself that, okay, they do not have social media. I agree with everything you say. They don't have social media. It's fine, but they have YouTube.
Mhm.
Be careful. I do want to say
Yeah.
Yes.
we have normal YouTube, that's okay. But it depends on how old they are, how much you really trust your kid, because whatever. But YouTube also has YouTube Shorts, and you literally are stuck in this whirlwind of just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and things will pop up in there that your kids are not going to tell you. Okay,
Yes.
there's a lot of things in there that is going to pop up without you realizing, and you think it's normal, it's okay, because they're starting out with like a little kid's content short.
Mhm.
That's usually not what happens, because they'll keep scrolling and something will pop up.
Yeah. And there's also YouTube movies. And I'm just going to say this. There are movies that are labeled one thing that are completely different.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say this right before we close. You can have movies that say drama that are actually horror films and not even realize it. And so then with the horror films comes all this fear. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a door that gets open. I don't know how to explain it fully, but there's a door that opens when you watch certain things because people are visual. People see things, and when you see things, it makes it easier to believe, especially as a young child.
Yeah.
As a young child, until they're about 8, I believe is what the statistic is, they don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
And that's why people say, don't let your kids watch certain things until a certain age. And even as an adult, there are certain things you shouldn't be watching.
Right.
That
like horror movies, those things are actual, like, real things. Those are like demonic stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And people don't realize
like Ouija boards. Those are real stuff.
Never.
That allows, like,
we'll talk
that
about
allows the enemy to come up. That's for like another video. So
that's another conversation.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna close for today, and we'll actually continue this discussion in the next video. But we will see you all in the next video. So bye, THR family.
Bye.
Bye.